Hello everyone, welcome to a different video where I talk about GBO2 in general, about the game, about my experiences, about the mobile suits, the players, etc. All of it, or at least all of it which I care to talk about. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you some gameplay of matches I played with my GBO2 buddies, Garuga, Victor Primus, and Nirik. So first off, what I think about the game, my perspective on it. I actually really like the game. The only problem I have with it, of the game itself, is the latency. But otherwise, I really like this game. I like the combat, I like being able to play all these different suits that I would otherwise never be able to play in any other game. It has given me love for suits I never expected to like, suits that I've barely seen do anything in mangas or animes, or just get decimated, like Fodder. Or for example, well, it's given me love for suits I didn't like before, suits I didn't know existed, suits I already knew existed but didn't like before. It has given me a lot more love for the Gundam franchise as a whole. So honestly, this game is, despite all the salt I get from this game, despite all the things that can go wrong, it has given, I just love Gundam more because of this, which is overall a positive thing. My experiences, well, I played this game for at least more than 200 days. I am currently at my ground type rank is A1, A-, and my space rank is B-. My most used suits as of currently are the Recon Zaku, the Gym Cannon, and I forgot about the raid suit. I think it was the Zuda. Yeah, I played a lot of low cost in the early days, so those are pretty high on the most used list. But they aren't my, but not all of them are really my most favorite suits. I can say that I'm pretty decent at the game at least, and have a decent grasp at the game itself. And, well, everyone obviously makes mistakes in matches. You see that right here in this match, and probably in the other matches as well. Although those are brawl matches between me and my friends. Either way, I've noticed when it comes to this game that beating in it, obviously very salty, me as well. This is the only game that I've ever rage quit, didn't do a rage quit, and that happened 2 times, which has never happened to me before in any game. So I guess that says something about how salty I can get in this game. Talking about bad disconnects, Garuga got disconnected because of his internet or because of GBO2, I don't remember why. Either way, but with in my time playing this game, I've mostly played quick matches. I don't play rating matches a lot because rating matches can get really stressful because of how people want to rank up, how but people are rather selfish on this game. They only want to want to accomplish what they want. They don't care about their teams. I feel like most of the time they only care about their own rating, which I mean I can understand, but the problem is that if you don't work together as a team, you don't go anywhere. And in my earlier experiences when playing GBO2, when I was just a weak little player, I played the gym cam in low cost in space, for example, and there was this one teammate, for example, I'm pretty sure his username was Cole Steven, and instead of ignoring me when the support was being attacked, he immediately helped me even though he was the raid. And for me that was a big deal, honestly, because to me that was how you are supposed to play in this game. You're supposed to help your teammates. You're supposed to, yeah, you're supposed when your support or your raid is in trouble, you're supposed to help them as a general. And of course you can't always do that. Sometimes you get distracted. Maybe you're way too focused on one opponent, one person, because what is the problem? The tunnel vision. That you get tunnel vision when you look at an opponent, and that can also be an issue, which honestly I can understand. And you have obviously the problems with sometimes you hit each other when you didn't intend to, as support, as a raid, as a general. And people don't always use the sorry tell because they feel like they were justified in doing that, or think they are like, yeah, you were getting in my way, so I don't give a frick. That kind of stuff. And honestly, I find that instead of being salty, people really need to focus more on the team game in general. It's so important to work together with your team, and yeah, there aren't always people who want to work with you, and that really sucks. And honestly, I just really want to be able to work together with my teammates. That's a goal of mine. To be able to work with my teammates and just get the win, or at least have a good match. I just don't like. It isn't when I lose that I get really salty. It's when I perform badly that when I get salty. That's when I get really salty about things. That's what I rather want to perform well, and secondly, I want to be able to perform well with my teammates. Those are the two most important things. If the match is close, I wouldn't care about losing. But if you lose because nobody wants to work together, nobody sticks together, and you are basically you have such a low score compared to the opposing team, that's not fun. I mean, being able to absolutely stomp your enemy can be fun in a sense, but at the same time, it's just, what's the point of playing a game where you just can stomp the enemy easily? You at least want the challenge. At least that's what I like to think. Otherwise, it's boring. But yeah, there was another thing I want in another match that is a lot more recent. I, for example, played the Saikamu high mobility test type Zaku, and when I played that suit, I had nobody was defending the support against the enemy raid. So I did what I actually shouldn't be doing, and that was supporting our support, because I know the pain at this point of what it's like playing a support and not getting any help, just being decimated over and over by generals or raids or both. And then so I kept trying to defend my allied support, even though I shouldn't have. But funny enough, the enemy support was a Zaku 1 sniper at 400 costs, and nobody was able to deal with it, and it was using the long barrel Zaku machine gun of all things, but nobody was able to deal with it. Meanwhile, I was trying to defend our support and trying to not get hit by all the frickin' generals that were trying to fight me. And as soon as those generals were after me, the support got decimated by the raid, because nobody bothered to defend our support. And as the raid, you are dependent on the support. The support obviously decimates generals. Its entire thing is decimating the generals so that you can go after the enemy support. So, and that's kind of my thought process behind that. So, if no general defends the support as a raid, I'm going to defend the support. The support is just that vital, in my opinion. And even sometimes as a support, I've been on the front line because either people force me to be on the front line, or, well, the generals that are supposed to be the front line walk behind me. So some of my biggest problems are with some allies, and that's not even all the players. There are enough players who are supportive, who want to actually help their allied players, but then you get those salty people on your teams, and that's just demoralizing. You get those like, good work, nice. Fucking, I absolutely, those are my least favorite things to deal with. Then I'm like, yeah, what's the point of me playing this game if you're going to be salty about losing, mate? If you don't like being so, if you get so upset all the time, just at this point, I feel like you should play a different game. It just really upsets me. I want to play this game for my enjoyment, but also to get better at this game, and I can't do that with some person who's being salty all the time. So those are my experiences. I've ranted longer than I should have at this point. Now it's more about the game itself. I found that people choose mobile suits that are not suited for certain stages. And I am at fault as well for that. But here's the thing. I'd say in quick matches, no matter what suit you choose, it's fine to experiment, because you're not losing anything. The only thing you're just losing that match. Whereas if you experiment with suits in rating and you lose because you didn't do well, because you are more of a hindrance than actually helping your teammates, then then I don't really understand what you were doing there. For example, in Desert you use a very melee focused suit like the Freeze in a quick match. That's perfectly fine. If you use that in a rating match, I would say that is both very stupid and something where I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you be such a big problem to your team? But for example, I've had this recent match in Space Rating where someone used a full armor Gundam Thunderbolt in Derelict Colony. Now, it's not the problem that they're using that mobile suit, that they want to use that mobile suit. My problem is that they're using that mobile suit in Derelict Colony. The Thunderbolt is such a big mobile suit that you cannot make use of its mobility in such a small enclosed stage. That is just I do not understand that thought process. I just do not understand why you would use the Thunderbolt Gundam, the full armor Thunderbolt, in Derelict Colony. You do not use big ranged mobile suits in Derelict Colony. Big bulky mobile suits are a death sentence in Derelict Colony. The only time that isn't a big deal is when it's high cost. Because a lot of people in high cost have very bulky mobile suits. Meanwhile, for example, there are certain, except if you use like in 650, you use the Game Malk in Derelict Colony. That's also not very smart. Why? That's something I would also think. Like, why would you use that big bulky support when you are way too big of a target? I mean, if you big bulky ranged mobile suits are best suited for, and it doesn't matter what type, are best suited for dark space and the colony mines, or whatever that level is called, with all the asteroids. I don't know. I don't remember. And then you have, and hell, even Space Fortress, you might be able to use the Thunderbolt, but, well, that seems kind of, eh. But for example, the Psycho Zaku, that one can still be used in the Derelict Colony, because that thing has stuns for days, while the Gundam Thunderbolt, that one has to stand still for multiple of its weapons. It doesn't work as a raid compared to how the Psycho Zaku, who is a general, can do perfectly well because of all its stuns, and it doesn't seem that big of a target in a sense compared to, say, the full armor Thunderbolt. And I know the Thunderbolt was bust. I mean, it's become better, but that's no excuse to use it in the Derelict Colony. Like, for example, the Zaku 1. That's a suit I really love using. Isn't very smart for me to use in Derelict Colony because it's bulky. There are way too many enclosed spaces, and that makes it easy for the for me to get targeted or get stuck in geometry, which has actually happened. While in the dark space and the that one level with all the all those asteroids or whatever how you call it, I don't know the right term for it. That one, the Zaku line's really good there. But then you have, for example, the things like the O. I think that one could sort of work in. That one could probably work just because of it being a melee suit in Derelict Colony. But either way, what I'm trying to say is, know the size of your mobile suit, know the weapons of your mobile suit before choosing where you're using it. Look, my advice is basically, if you see a certain stage and and you know the stage at this point, if you are A minus, I would like to think that you have experience enough to know where the how big a mobile suit is, where to use certain mobile suits, and how to use certain mobile suits. You need to be careful in rating matches what kind of mobile suits you use. I'm just going to name some of the, at least from my experience, Derelict Colony, it's best to have mobile suits with a nice amount of stuns and mid-range weaponry that do quick stuns. Like, for example, the Rig Diaz is an amazing suit in Derelict Colony. Then again, it's a great suit in almost any stage because it's good melee, it's good range, it is good everything. And here, for example, you see the Cubile mass production type. That's a suit I would not bring in the Derelict Colony. It's too big for that place. I would get stuck in geometry, and as a support, it doesn't seem like a good support for that place. While, for example, in the Fortress, in the Space Fortress, this would be a very good mobile suit. It has a nice amount of stuns, you still have decent amounts of range, and it pairs well with the other Cubilates. And here you have, for example, the Zaza, which is a mobile suit I would never bring in space. That one's only good on the ground, in my opinion. For example, I have also had a recent match where I played the Full Armored Gundam Plan B, and one where I played the Gundam Mudrock in Derelict Colony. But the reason that support works in that specific in that specific stage is because there are so many corners and walls that the splash damage explosions actually help you more than harm you. Hell, when I had a bad team in the Plan B, in both the Plan B and the Mudrock, I did between 60 and 70k damage, and that's not a lot. But I was still the highest damaging person. I still did the highest amount of damage compared to any of my teammates. And in both those cases, I had salty teammates. Where they were like spamming things like, "Oh nice! Oh good work! We did it! Yay!" Yeah, nobody gets happy with that, dude, and it doesn't get you anywhere. You're just being a salty little asshole. Again, I'm just saying, know what kind of mobile suit you're using, know what kind of stage you're using it in, know how the stage is set, know how the mobile suit gets stuck. Experiment a lot with mobile suits in quick stage. That is my that is definitely my advice. Experiment with any suit you like in quick match, but but only use your best suits in rating matches, just please. And even if it's your best suit, but it doesn't fit in a certain stage, it's not it doesn't fit well with a certain stage, don't use it. Like that one dude that used the full armor Gundam Thunderbolt in the Derelict Colony. It's just, I'm more ranting and raving than actually giving advice. But I really want, I'll be honest, I really want to have fun and play with even random people. I might make a more organized video next time about this topic, or talk about it during one of my matches. Like, I could, if I also get better at commentary instead of blabbering and stammering like a fool. Either way, we're almost at the end of the video. I would say that my basic advice is, well, again, just know what mobile suits you can use well. Know what mobile suits you can do well with. Know what kind of stage you're using it in, and if it doesn't work well in that stage, choose another mobile suit. Hell, if you double up on supports, that's also a stupid thing, by the way. Do not do that. Unless you are really good with that support, I advise you not to do that. If the only time you may be able to do that is when you have 4 generals on the team and there are 2 supports. That seems possible, but if you only have 3 supports, 3 generals. 3 generals cannot defend all supports, and not all, nor can they defend all raids. I'd say that having 2 generals and 2 raids and one support, for example, if you want to double up on any kind of type, well, I'd rather have 2 raids than 2 supports. Mostly because also a lot of people seem to be want to use the Super Gundam, and I absolutely hate the Super Gundam, by the way. I absolutely hate how people keep using that and are not good with it. Ugh. Either way, this is the end of the video. I've done enough ranting and raving about all of this. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to write down a better script or something, or organize the video better next time. Bye.